Hello, everyone. Welcome to the alaracanfield show, the Awaken to Happiness Now global series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And my good friend Audrey Light Language is back with us today, and we are talking about living waters of life. I think it is. Yeah, the living waters of life. So I'm so glad that Audrey is back with us. And some of what we're going to talk about today is that, we are all made of water. Every cell holds water. It's what we're immersed in within the womb as we develop our vessel to express and have experiences here. And so where there's water, there's life. There's water in the universe, and you live upon a water planet, right? This is a water planet. So today we're going to also be talking about, and Audrey's going to bring in the dolphins and the whales, who are the ancient beings holding the high vibration upon this world that they have also called home, living in its waters. And they have emanated out their sounds and vibrations through them, bring the higher energy to help sustain life upon this planet. And so Audrey's going to be speaking the languages of light and the language of the Akash that clears and rewrites it to the new, bringing you in resonance with the higher frequencies, making available the higher energy potentials to write in the new books of life. She will join those works with both the dolphins and the whales, bringing in high energy codes to assist you. And Audrey also works with the living numbers, breaking blocks, and she is called a breaker of chains, chains and energetic shackles. And Audrey delivers through the sacred key codes, the number language of creation, which is a long list of numbers that hold energy, as she helps weave for you a new energy body and gives you your own list of numbers to work with as a tool to apply the energy they hold in your own lives as you would like. And Audrey has worked on Tesla, so we're going to maybe talk about Nikolai Tesla as well, with his aspects, helping to heal him, clearing things he held in his many aspects that needed releasing and clearing, and has also worked with him with works behind the scenes at the Hotel New Yorker where he lived, and Niagara Falls as well. So we'll talk about that. And for those of you who don't know Audrey, she's been with us many, many times. We love having her on the show. She is a soul architect and an energy engineer. She's an ambassador of peace who has traversed the multiverses, forever with the pulling of the plug on the experiment of duality and polarity. And through its experience of entering so deeply into the density, sleep, and forgetting, now gives the great opportunity to recreate and step into a time within the new creation to experience the eternal peace. And Audrey looks forward to the times when a position such as hers as a peace ambassador will no longer be necessary. But right now, we're so glad that she is here as a peace ambassador and coming to share her knowledge and wisdom and energy and teachings with us today. So please join me in welcoming Audrey to the show. Welcome back, Audrey.
Hello. Thank you so much for the invitation to be with your beautiful listeners again today, your family of listeners. Thank you so much. Yes, yes, yes. I know other people have been on, talking about the dolphins and the whales, right? But I have never, although I've worked with them in my work, I've never specifically spoken about them, right? But lately, when I've been doing works that I do behind the scenes, right, as a coder who's embodied, wearing this Audrey mama wife suit, right, to do the works behind the scenes in this time, like many of us know we're embodied in these unprecedented times, right, to be here and be those lighthouses I speak about, right, and to hold the light and to do this work in the bigger picture of things that are going on in the body of creation. So the whales most recently have also, and the dolphins, been coming in when I've been doing that work behind the scenes a lot, so I know we needed a topic, right? So I said, okay, since they've been coming in so much, let's talk about this again, right? Because yes, water is life, right? Without water, there's like no life. And water, has the three components that we understand water, like vapor and frozen and liquid and all that. But it has also another component as well that they found out recently, right? So everybody can go look into that if they want to. But the point is, water is also out in the universe, right? Water is life. Like we said, you're immersed in it, being formed in it, right? You need water, right? All yourselves, how much percentage of us is made of water, So now all that we're going through, and so many people are in fear, and also spiritual communities, some of them that support the idea that what's been going on, you know what I mean, with this thing, they're all doomed, right? And like, what are they accepting, right? These are people's loved ones, families, children, all this. Don't feed into the story and color and define that story more, you know what I mean? Shedding and all this other kind of stuff. I'm like, what are they doing? They're like coloring in the lines, like a picture drawing of the kids, right? Dot, 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 that they define it and color it in. Don't do that and make it more firm, right? Like they're all talking about it and making it with their magic, true magic that they don't understand that they have, the power and consciousness being swayed, right, by other forces to accept such a thing as this, you know? So it was coming to me to speak to them about when some say, oh, you know, they're doomed and all this kind of stuff. No, right? Think about that scientist. I know I'm jumping right in. Sorry. You know, that
That's okay.
scientist, I can't remember his name right now, who did the experiments of water, right? You froze it and you said beautiful things to a beautiful energy and have beautiful shapes.
Emoto.
Yes, thank you so much. You said the terrible things and then it had terrible shapes, right? It's showing there that water has memory, right? Holds memory, right? Water is way more than what we kind of think and understand, you know, what water is in such an actuality. And so in this regard, since we are made of so much water, right? Water is life, right? Think about the water holds memory, right? So you had some woman out there was talking about how even the pods, blah, 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 they're not gonna be able to help people, right? Because the DNA level and it's so destroyed. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what is she talking about? What are they feeding out there? Blah, 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 right? Information, coloring again, those darker, you know, lines of potentiality more than rather, let's come on today and talk about how water has memory, right? So the water in you is going to hold the memory, right, of who and what you are, natural biologically, right, to heal you and to work with you, right, regenerate you, you know. And then later on, before the show is over, we'll bring in the dolphins and the whales, right, to also come and bring what they're going to bring through, because they have held, right, for so long living here upon this world as well, those ancient beings, those higher energy, right, that they emanated out through the water, right, through the whole beautiful water planet, you know, of what they've brought through with their sounds, you know. So we'll bring some in for that healing, for that sustenance, right, for that support, the water that is right here right now and holds memory, right, of their natural biological beyond, right, anything that is saying, oh, it can't be healed or fixed. So let's color in and define using some of that with our real magic today, rather than feeding into the blah, 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 blah that others are doing. Do they expect loved ones just to watch their other loved ones go through this who didn't understand and this befell them, that they say, oh, they made their free choice? No, they didn't. They were manipulated and lied to for millennia to make them not understand, right, under duress and fear. They were beautiful, empathetic people thinking they're doing the right thing for themselves and for others, you know? So they didn't make a free choice like a spiritual community wants to say, oh, they made their free choice. No, they didn't. No, they didn't, because they weren't fed the proper information, right? And then you're going to like leave them to the wolves? What are you talking about? No, right? Water, healing waters that hold the memory. So that's why I was moved like last minute the other day. That's why I apologized. It was last minute because I know like, I don't know yet what it is, right? But that's what it was that come up to have the conversation. So thank you, Alara, for patiently waiting for me to get that to you as well. I appreciate it. So go ahead.
Absolutely. And so it's about, you know, being in the moment, you know, and tapping into what the collective requires right now, what we all require right now on this call. And at the same time, recognizing that we are magical beings, right? And that we hold a lot of ancient wisdom and ancient frequencies that are available to us to assist us in as we go forward, right?
Yes.
That's what it's about.
Excellent.
Not to forget that. And how, you know, we ourselves are a body of water, and that water has that memory, like you were talking about, of being healed, of being pure and whole and uncontaminated even.
Yes, it's natural, biological, original state, right, to repair it to, right? Because of, let's say, the wider information of what actually water is. If it holds memory, well, duh, obviously it's going to hold a memory, right, of your biological, right, DNA, who and what you are, and all that type of thing. You know what I mean? For that repair, for that healing. Let's not feed into the blah, blah, blah story and yet define it and color it and give it a platform to stand on. We're here today. We're ripping the rug out of that, right? So that this is the thing, right? Which would give beautiful support and living waters, which is nourishing and to support them, life, you know, life-giving, you know.
And how can we now tap into that, the living water that has the cellular memory of health and well-being and the original blueprint?
Well, of course, works like this also assist them, right? But they, right, this is quantum and beyond quantum, the works, you know, for this to fast track them, but also themselves, if ones are not going to receive such a thing, to have the awareness and understanding to begin to use that, right? The powers that they have of their own self, their own body, their own beingness that they are, this vessel that they're wearing, because some of my work, months and months ago, a message rang through, was saying what they, right, are attempting to access through all of this, right, that is going on, is not accessible to them through the means that they think that is accessible, right? So again, we go back to a spiritual community that's kind of like, they're all doomed, they're not going to have their third eye, they're not going to access God, all this stuff, blah, 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 right? What are you doing? Why are you defining and coloring it? No, your essence, your soul, right, is not reachable, right? Like why that message was saying that they are attempting to access through these means, right, that they are going through. And then again, let's go back to who's falling into that storyline, defining that, with their magic to make that happen. No. We're like, no, erase, delete, right? Confirm this more, I'm just going to turn on the ceiling fan because the energy's happening and I feel like, woof, I'm melting already.
Yeah, and that's the thing, have some water handy, everyone, or something to drink, because the energy does get high, and it, for some of us, we get hot, so be prepared for that as we continue our conversation and as the energies are coming through. So even though we may just be talking, but the energies are already coming through to uplift you, to empower you, to help you to access a different way of being and a different way of thinking, even about us, about who we are.
Yes, so beautifully said. Thank you so much. So beautifully said. Can I speak a little light at the beginning now to support everyone, and then we'll go back to talking? All right, beautiful ones. All you have to do is receive this. So receive. Here we go. See what comes through. Son te perhuseum, son televi pereum, cala sorter tus cartereum, celeberunda ruseum, Kerisi porterusea, nerusor de levi perteum, Keresia kerisi eum, Berusare, berusare rarireum, berusare rerorerum, berusare rerureum. All right, some fairies, even though I say fairies, right, is all source expressing in these different names. We're used to the energy frequency names, right? So to come and help with the heart, right? Release some of those things that need to be released, help touch that inner child. So here we go. Front and back of the heart, release. Now we're going to bring in some Native Americans, bring in the ancient ones. Again, all source expressing in that different energy we're used to, right? Because we want to get into some generational ancestral releasing, right? So we also are going to assist our generations in both directions through doing that DNA work that the ancient ones are going to bring in. And the beauty of my work is it's quantum level. So it's not only your Gaian lives, we're also accessing, as a soul architect that I am, your multidimensional cosmic aspects as well. So like so many lives, right, can be worked on and handled at one time. So that's beautiful. Not only your Gaian lives, right? So here we go. Here comes those Native Americans bringing the ancient ones. Do some releasing around the belly button, the coccyx bone. Here we go. Ancient ones. Around the belly button. Bahua between the legs. Release. Back coccyx bone. Hamdu Hamdu shikanda suti kanda koshondia. Honyana hoi. Isa, isa, isa. We're going to do some releasing also what you bear and have held on your shoulders for so many lives and aspects. And also, again, your cosmic multidimensional aspects as well. And what release what you held here, like between your shoulder blades. So here we do some of that. Hum, kantua sungon doisi. Bahwa, bahihum. Besu, besu, kundusunda, yanabaru, yanubaru, yanubaru, sortururusiri, right? What has held you like around your throats, beautiful ones, right? Around that neck, release. Kusikundo, sumakita, sohoita, hombai. Bahua, bahua, for your throat speaking, right? Wahuisi, wahuasua. So, yitahanukusikita. Isa. It's a breaker of chains, right? The energetic old bonds, right? Old beliefs and paradigms, old agreements, release some of those from the wrist as well. Sukurta, from around the neck. Sukuta kawakwak sakwaksi. Esa meses, yes. Venusun terrivari onai. Verunsun every day. Venunane, venunanai. Venusun every onai. Il est partout. Esa. Very high energy, guys, because every time I have a Lara joining here, it's because, right? Oh, yes. So
I was yawning through the whole thing.
Yes. And so someone who's saying they're about the past lives. Yes, my work as a soul architect, it's not only releasing your Gaian lives. Like I said, you're a soul. You've had many aspects. You've been looping for millennia, right? In the same old. That is the whole point of this unprecedented times, right? Embodiment to get out of that. So we're not only going to work on your Gaian lives, the work that I do, releasing thousands at a time. People may be familiar with like a hypnosis, right? Where they'll do 1 or 2 or 3. But this is with this work, quantum and beyond quantum, it's thousands of lives and aspects at a time. So it's much more effective and efficient, you know? So I keep you out of the story, out of your own way, because sometimes when people are hypnotized, they're like, oh, I can't wait to hear the next story about myself, you know? But this is like so many lives that I can't pause to tell you the story, right? It's like move. The energies, like the files out of the way to be released and upgraded. And also including, which as a soul, like some might say, oh, I've had a life on a star, you know, planet and this and that, or another dimension. Yes, but the thing is, in reality, there's no time. It's all one time. So it's happening simultaneously, right? So it's not like you're dead and buried. Another aspect of you is simultaneously having that life. So I'm grabbing into that aspect, right, to also release it, because sometimes in physicality, they see the bleed through in their embodiment. They don't understand what's happening because through another one of their lives, their aspects, this is bleeding through or happening, or generational agreement or agreement of themselves, you know, or childhood issue bleeding through. And that's why this work is so important. And Alara's yawning when I'm speaking. So that's why I know the energy is coming out even through that to expand their understanding and awareness. So that's beautiful, a testament. So she's like your Geiger counter, guys. She's like, you know, there's no BS here. She's yawning, you know, and she can't do that on purpose. So that's like, yes, that's high energy. You know, we're in that field. And so there you go.
I'm not tired, I swear. Beautiful. Thank you. No, that was powerful. And again, you know, the way that you speak the languages and bring forth the energies, it's so different each time. And even now it was much, I don't know, it was different. It felt like an opera, listening to an opera.
So beautiful. Yeah. Yes, because the singing is another version of the energy to come through in sound, you know, so it's like a language, but it's also the singing, because the singing, like a tape that we understand when a person who sings is going to make their record or whatever it is, there's many layers to it, right? They're all the different pieces that they put in, and then you hear that one piece that plays back, but there's many parts to it, right? So that's the same thing why the singing comes in. So it's very, very multi-layered, right? The energy that's being delivered in that, the same thing as that idea for them to grasp and understand in that way, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, beautiful. Thank you. And as we are speaking and as you are sharing, you know, the languages of light and just your energies, just allow yourself to release and let go what doesn't serve you anymore. And don't stay in your head and don't stay in the story, because that's not going to help. But just be willing to allow. And if you start yawning, great. If you start getting tired or falling asleep a little bit, fine, let it go, because that's all energy shifting and moving. Okay, just keep drinking water, be present the best you can be, and just flow, right? Just be in the flow.
Yes, yes, yes. Please be in the flow, because the thing is, many systems have been developed, right? As I'm sure your audience is well aware, for millennia of time, right? Of what is really truly happening here. We look at people and think it's the humans that this is going on. Humans are puppets for other layers of what is going on here, and I know so many people look to all them out there, for help and messages and all this. But if that was all really also fabulous, like I talk about, we wouldn't have had the old future where there was no longer any natural biological, that AI transhumanism took it over, that we came back in time, right? Who embody those of us that are lighthouses and light, right? And star seeds and all of this, to change the outcome of the old future that didn't play out well, where there was no longer a natural biological divine, human or any expressions to express through it, had all become AI. So this way, we are changing the timelines to have that other timeline where they could get in concordance with that, where the natural biological continues, which is what? The divine expressing in a natural biological way, the conscious natural biological way to continue. So that's why they're so important and so precious beings, right? Because they're here and that's what they're doing, continuing the natural biological for creation itself to move to the next version of itself, right? In that expression, not the old AI, old outcome of the old future, which is passed to us right now, because we're making a new one. So it's very important. I know it's hard to grasp, but they are so important. And this is why they are who they have been waiting for, right? Did anybody show up to have this shebang not go on yet again, right? Because to me, this is the old future that played out already, taking them down that old timeline, a slippage into that. So we've come to change those timelines, right? To get on those better timelines. And that's why we're doing all these works and this education, re-education we're talking about, because they are who they've been waiting for, right? To do that and use that magic as a Christed being represented, the Christed one, whether you believe in it or not, right? It's that consciousness of source was accessed in physicality, right? To express those things, right? As one standing in their godhood has access to, which is the true magic that we're talking about, that they forgot that they had when they entered into this, to begin this process, ages and millennia ago. So this is works that who've come in to help remind them and assist them that they have access to this, right? Not this one, that one, help me, give it to me, which I know they're very used to. It's habits, right? But really, are you going to fall on your knees and wait for that to keep coming? And look what we have seen has come to pass. So you really should wake up, really, because there is a false awakening, you know what I mean? And a big distraction that many have fallen into, unfortunately. So this is about them to be empowered, and access some of that, because if you keep looking out there, well, look at the situation and circumstances going on and befallen many of so many's loved ones, and the abomination that we don't need to talk about, the rabbit holes to the depth of that some have traveled in, that such abomination as that can even be and exist to the depth of the forgetting that have gotten to, you know what I mean? So that can go to that depth of forgetting or depth of abomination. You really need to start looking at and say, are all those people that I've been looking for help, like that should never be or happening or continue to be, right? Or this coming to pass yet again, if they were so powerful to get invested in this, and do something. So you yourselves are the ones that you color yourself in, define yourself, and assist the collective in the bigger picture of things. As creation pulls the plug on the experiment, we seal the old book of life so we could write in the new books. But those to find their name written in the new books, to be able to write in the new books, must be in resonant and must be a hearted, true, self-sustaining being, not vampiric AI hybridization or any of that kind of stuff, because that's going the way to be absorbed back to the all that is, to be healed, right? Or to be no more as a dream character that never was, because it did not define and declare itself in resonance with the new, So it's very important. So I hope they will take this and receive it to help nourish them and strengthen them upon their journey, because this is not only what is going to happen in physical, because I know people, it's very important, we're in physical, right? But you're going to be out of physical in a moment. Where are you going to find yourself, right? In creation, as this is all happening and going on. So it's the time of the great divide, very important to make sure you're in resonance. So you continue on and have that gift of individualization, right? Consciousness to play and experience the different energy vibrations, which is all the different consciousness levels to express through. But now they would only be high levels, not a duality polarity that they lie to you and think to say, you need to have that because you need a contrast, right? And I think, what BS? That's part of the experiment in the baloney of duality polarity game of forgetfulness. I am totally complete and unto myself complete. And I don't need to see horrors of horrors to have a contrast to know beauty when I see beauty, because beauty touches anyone who has a soul and brings tears to their eyes of the wonder, the grandeur, and the preciousness of that. And that is why the mother in the work that I bring through has come back, which is not your mother, father, God, or not your mother, Gaia. She's what all the goddesses are talking about, right? People think it's the mother, Gaia, or mother, father, God. No, the goddess was the original mother, which brought forth her own self, the womb of creation, and why the mother has come back to see what her mother, father, God, children, all the rest of them have done with the gift of life, right? Conscious awareness, right? What they have brought forth. And this is the whole body of creation being moved, right? So it can be set back in order. So the gift of life that she has given can be held precious and honored, right? Beautiful thing and sacred, right? That it is. And that's what we're doing. So you guys take your part in it, you know?
And so, it's like if we want to move forward with our highest vibration, highest frequency, highest resonance with source, right? Yes, your works are helpful and can assist us, but what else can we do in the day to day? Because, let's face it, right now, we are under a lot of stress still, right? There's a lot going on the planet, not just with the whole COVID thing, but there's lots of other things going on the planet in our personal lives. And, we all try and stay positive. We all try and stay empowered and uplifted and all that wonderful stuff. But, some days it's tough.
Exactly, because you can't lie to yourself, right? You can't lie to yourself. This is horrible things that are going on, right? We've had other beings that have controlled humanity and think they own them and the planet for how long? That's what I'm saying. I don't understand that people are like, yeah, I made it to 5D. This is my reality. Like I said, dancing their butt off in Shasta or where else. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? Right? Are you a bit of a narcissist? Because it's like you didn't come in just to get okay again because you came in okay. You immersed in this to know what is happening, kind of forgot yourself, to find yourself again, yes, to be well, but so that you help the bigger picture of things. Not only think, yay, it's my reality. That's not my reality, that's your reality. Excuse me, how can you even talk about portion of the oneness if that's what you're doing? It doesn't make any sense to me. You've come in to help the bigger picture of things. So you have to be aware, like you're saying, you can't be in delusion of la, 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 whatever. Understand the bigger picture, what's going on. And when you understand the bigger picture, what's going on, it can be very upsetting, right? And unsettling. So that's why the self-care, right? In reality, not like those one that wear rose-colored glasses or they want to keep their blinders on. I was recently speaking to someone and they were like, oh no, I don't go down the rabbit holes. And I said, excuse me, right? It was a host of a show. I said, you don't, after the show. So you don't need to go down the rabbit holes. You just need to have awareness that they exist. Sort of like when there's potholes in the road. If someone doesn't know there's potholes in the road, they get deeper and deeper and you fall in, right? The point is to know the potholes exist so you can pave them over, right? So it'll no longer exist. Same way, take off your rose-colored glasses and your blinders and understand that the reason is such things occurring. You don't have to go down them. Just know that those rabbit holes exist, right? So they can be paved over and be no more. It's what you have come to do, right? Not to sit deluded, and sedated in a spiritual delusion and sedation yet, So it's very important that self-care, right? Nurturing self. That's why last time I was talking about, come, let's feed the lighthouses, nourish the lighthouses, which is your true essence, right? Because just as the light keeper would weather the storm and climb up, right? Whether it's he or she that did it and maintain that light for themselves and for others, cutting through the fog and everything. That's like what they're doing, right? When they understand the reality, there's a storm, there's things going on, right? But I'm going to self-care so I could be, strong and well to still weather this storm that is going on, the war, the craziness, all that is happening, because we're here to, again, it's not only just our personal little lives, right? Stories and experiences. There's a bigger picture that we're part of as well. And it is the story of creation itself, right? Moving to the next expressions of itself, right? Out of this that has been stuck and looping over and over because of what occurred and happened within the duality polarity experiment, so to say, right? Or what was brought forth the light of what has lurked within the body of the field of consciousness and creation itself, right? Those things that are vampire, parasitic, and so forgetfulness of itself. So we can handle that situation. And again, seal them, right? In the book of life, pull the plug on the experiment. So we don't have such things when there's beautiful worlds and beautiful beings expressing them in fullness and healthy and well. And all of a sudden something that is parasitic comes out through a dimension, right? Or a different, realm, and feeds on and eats up and blows up the world, and the beautiful souls are shattered, right? In shock that such a thing as that exists. Those are the old stories looping over and over again, that thing parasitic traversing the body of creation, which we have come in to say no more of. So that's how important each of them are. So keeping that lighthouse, right, represented what I'm saying. Nourish yourself, feed yourself in whatever ways you can, be gentle with yourself, and begin to be re-educated that just your physical body story lives, there is so much more to this, and you're in and out of it of a moment. And where are you going to find yourself? You cannot say, in the new godhood way of being, do you think you're going to call on all those beings to tell you what to do like you do now? Seers tell me. No. If you want to stand in your godhood, right, you have to stand in your godhood, your sovereignty, divine birthright, accessing that power and get used to that footing as the captain of your own ship, right? You can't say, everybody else, tell me, where am I going? What am I doing? How are you standing in your godhood? If you want to keep looking at all what I would call lesser, lower beings, right, than the godhood that you played with as a god, right? Because you forgot that you were that. So you set up all these beings, different expressions to play with. But now it is time to call back yourself to yourself in your godhood sense of being, so you don't keep playing lesser, right? Like, oh, I'm going to play with the echelons that are in all the realms. What are you doing? Time to stand in your godhood.
So how do we stand in our godhood? How do we call in our godhood self? Because right now there are a lot of people on the call who are like, I don't know what my godhood is. I'm not accessing information. I don't know what my God source is saying.
You don't even have to access information, right? Because what do you want to access information? Tons of people have scribed books from all these beings, blah, 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 right? Oh, I hear a message from this one and that one. Really? What has just happened to the humanity on the face of humanity? What has yet to be exposed of the level of the deceit and manipulation that has gone on this planet for millennia? Where were all those beings not to have that happen? That's why there's such a resistance to really express and tell the truth of what's going on, because people's minds are going to be blown, right? Their stability that they have built so much on is going to be pulled out from under them when you understand the bigger picture of things, right? So who's going to be your stability? Yourself, right? Your heart, right? Your conscious, your awareness, because all these other things, you think they're real. Where are they? You are real. You are finding yourself to have awareness and consciousness. So feed yourself and nourish yourself. Like they want to keep saying, my higher self out there. I need to hear my higher self out there. Guides, tell me. Guides, tell me. Who the heck do you think your guides are? Yourself, right? Speaking to you, right? But they want to play my guide tells me, right? And to prove that, as we've been going through this before all this shebang has happened most recently, you know that you would hear people all of a sudden say, wait a minute, I had my guide for years and now I don't have my guides. I have these other guides. Why? Because you yourself have gotten to another version, right? That you leave them behind in the dust, that you advanced another level of your own self. So other portions of yourself came playing as a game, as a guide, right? But it's you, the next version. When you get to a certain point, you're expressing, right, in that beingness of you are, which is you and your higher self, one and the same, back together. That's how you walk heaven on earth. Not my higher self, tell me out there. You keep keeping yourself separated from yourself, right? Then getting back to yourself. And they'll say, I don't hear them anymore. Like, of course you don't hear them anymore because you're it now, right? You are it, right? You are what's alive. You are what has consciousness, right? Where's all the rest of them? You're going to keep going on your knees or writing messages. We love you. You're doing such a good job. You know what I said to them in the realms? Oh, you want me to keep delivering the message? We love you. You're doing such a good job. Meanwhile, I said, that's carrots. They're constantly dangling, right? I said, that's kisses in the wind to them. Years ago, I said this. I said, they need more, right, than kisses in the wind. But yet people will scribe dutifully and can't wait to hear the next thing. And I'm very rebel, and spirit knows I'm rebel because they told me, right, that to be rebel is needed. To be non-compliant is needed. So you break the old molds, the chains that they had kept you in, Let's speak about Tesla for a minute, right? Tesla. Now, I do not say, oh, Tesla, come and speak to me. No, Tesla shows up to people when I have done the work, right? Because he said, attracted to the numbers, right? That he says, oh, those are equations. That's powerful work. So he has come and he speaks to them. I myself have been moved at the expo in New York to do works on the top floor, right? Beautiful glass window at nighttime, all the glass and the lights of the city. And I'm doing work by the antenna. And I'm thinking, as Audrey, people are behind me and I had to excuse myself to them and say, I'm so sorry, I apologize. But this evening it's about doing work, right, in the field. So I'm with the antenna, like, what's the antenna? Like Nicholas's tower, right? He lived there, he left whatever there. So I was doing the works, you know, and then another time I was led to Niagara Falls again, doing works. And I didn't even know when there's a statue of Tesla in Niagara Falls, you know, and then that factory or whatever that he was involved in. So most recently, I met a woman who she's some blood generation related to Tesla, that one of my clients is doing a show on Tesla, right? So she's making or writing being moved. So she deals with Tesla. So she goes, oh my goodness, right? She goes, yeah, the numbers with Tesla. She goes, I want you to meet this woman. So I met this woman and then someone else that I know who, when I gave her numbers, Tesla came and speaks to her and works with her. So they both wanted to connect, right? So I said, okay. So I have them on Zoom. We're all connecting. They're chatting about the two different Teslas, different aspects, one who is more human, one who is the scientific Tesla, and they're chatting and talking, right? So I'm there and I'm just like, okay, you know, I'm thinking we're going to do works behind the scenes, which I always do, you know. And so the woman who is related blood to in generation to Tesla goes, Tesla wants healing. So I go, okay, so boom, let's go. She'd never experienced me before, this woman, right? She's like, wow. She goes, you're moving like thousands of lives at a time. All these aspects. It's like you're opening boxes, like Pandora's boxes, and you're throwing the energy everywhere, right? She's like, oh. And so Tesla had his aspects, right, that needed work. So he received it, right? Now, never received it from these two other women that I always work with. I show up all of a sudden and they say, hey, I need a healing. So we do it, right? So after I was like, okay, let's get in the field and do what we're going to do, thinking Tesla's going to work with us as well. And his ancestor goes, oh no, he has to acclimate, he says, right, to all this work that was done on all his aspects. And I'm like, okay, great, beautiful, right? I said, all due respect to Tesla, he can go rest and acclimate. I said, but right now, ladies, you're going to stand in your Godhead, you're going to stand in your Godhead, I'm going to stand in my Godhead, and we're going to do the work behind the scenes, which we did, you know? So that's beautiful. This is the level of this, right? That Tesla is saying to me, right? That she's saying that he would like a healing, understanding, right? What he's witnessed with the numbers, with the work that I've done, how many aspects would be even to him, not embodied in this particular planet right now, let's say, you know, to receive such work. So I don't know what more to say to people of how important this is, because yes, they're going to do their own. If you have a plant, you know how to nourish the plant, right? Feed the plant, nourish the plant, love the plant, positive, right? But this is like, you could also get a light, right? Which helps the plant grow, right? As well. That's like my work, right? That light to come in, that extra light, right? All the different, you turn on the light, they have all the different, levels that the light is, right? So me accessing different levels of light to grab it, right? To fast track. So boom, that plant is going to grow, right? Amped up, how much more? That's the kind of way to explain it. So yes, self-care. But if you can access this, something else, right, which fast track that as well for you, right? I give you more keys, the numbers and the codes, right? So now you have keys and codes, a new vestment woven for you in that new higher energetic body, all tools brought through, right? Why did I incarnate? To do the works behind the scenes that needed to be done, to assist creation itself that is moving. But how many of us have come in embodied to also do it from the inside out? Because do you see all of them taking care of it? No, we still got the same looping for millennia. If all those you want to look to, we're going to take care of it. Why have we be in this loop, right, for millennia? So we've come in to get it done, right, beautiful ones? So there is this new book to write in with only those who are in resonance to find their name there, which is hearted beings, which is the key that builds the bridge, that opens the book, so they can access the gift the mother gave, keeping it holy, sacred, right? And honored. Then this abomination and disgrace that they have done to the gift of life is unacceptable. I'm going to bring the mother. You're in the womb of creation to nourish you. Plasmic primordial mother, the mother of your mother, father, God, and of all things. Siu Shum Suayu Issa Essa Essa. Just a few moments in that, right? Plasmic primordial first point of life, conscious that came from the womb of that mother, which birthed all other things from it.
Beautiful. Thank you. And so I wanted to ask you what the whales and dolphins are saying. What messages do they have for us, and how are they helping us right now?
Well, the whales and the dolphin, more than speaking in English, right? Because when we speak in English, they all begin to get in their preconception ideas, right? Because today I've said some things that may insult people or upset people, but if they could only really step in reality, right? Do you still want to play in that way, or you want to be in your own godhood? You know what I mean? This is your opportunity to do that, you know? So, to speak in English to them, you're going to put speed bumps, right, in the road, right? Rather than we want to bring them over quickly. Like Tesla says, this work is even beyond quantum, right? To go beyond what we even understand and know, right? So we can access that. Then the limitations, right, that they are stuck in over and over again. So the whales, right, and the dolphins are going to come in to go beyond language so they can receive that energy to help, right, nourish them. Again, the water of life that is within them, that holds the memory, right, of their, as you put the word blueprint, so to say, if you want to say, because they're familiar people with that, right? Their natural biological, so to say, natural technology, if you want to look at it that way, right? That allows us to have this vessel, this experience, right? And to keep them in that holiness, right? And connected with their divine self that they are, right? Which is their true essence of beingness, of how they have eternal life and continue, right, to be. So we're just bringing the whales and the dolphins, right? First some light language, and then they're going to come whenever they want. So here we go. Solama conad perus orarantorum corania se partiream badosoti bersaneum que perisi pereltuanaum salatet hu persidera Yatiberi serare. Today, ta ta, torea ta ta, torea ta ta, tumera, kusikita, tar, kurt est ar est epid ar para, tione, pirarua. Yarua, so. Just moving some energy all around them. Pura, pianicare, siperua. Also removing those shackles from around your ankles. Kutare, salala, holum mela, piano holum ahale, holum ahla, bahua, sahala olum, titi ole olum, mesa. Dolphins. Well, through the waters, right, within you. Waters of our world. Akash. Back to light language. Akash, right? Language of the Akash. I don't read an Akash. That's old libraries to me, but we're going to clear the Akash, the cosmic Akash that needs to be, and rewrite the Akash, new books, right, in your godhood. Right, to be in resonance with the higher frequencies, to have those potentialities to be accessed. Clicking is also me working on your multidimensional cosmic galactic versions of you, because as a soul, they're all part of you, right? So we don't want to just do Guyan lives. Ist ashte ashte ostem. Ist ashte oste ashkt ushkt akum. Akia ushkt ishkt ud ishkt akum. Bahune iriasta oramtai. Biane tia. Biane tia. Asa dolphins. Whales. C'est la partout, right? Light language, la partout, ale estu alia, sumwa. Some of that to nourish them, right? And to assist them, empower them upon their journey, right? And that water that is within them, right? They're like 99 some odd. It's like so much of you, right? Is water. You could look up the particulars. I didn't have time between yesterday and today when I said, okay, we're going to talk about water. So you guys can find the particulars, right? But there is so much in you, right? That you are mostly made of water, right? And you were grown in water, your vessel that you're wearing, right? And then the waters of life and such. So, and to nourish the waters of your soul, your spirit. Remember once we talked about the soul signature, which is their true essence of their being that they sign like on their line, meaning their essence, their fragrance, right? Who and what they are in creation, right? And this water, right? To help nourish them.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I could definitely feel the energy shifting as the dolphins and the whales came through. My goodness, so much. All right, do you want to take some questions? So
yes.
I forgot to mention at the beginning, if you have a question for Audrey about whatever we're talking about today, raise your hand or type your question in the chat. So I totally forgot to say that at the beginning. Whoops. So we have some people with their hand raised. Destiny, you want to go first?
Hi. Hey, Audrey. Hi, Alara. Thank you, Alara. I recently, I have this interdimensional galactic being that yesterday we removed it. It seemed as though I was connected somehow to the matrix, and I got disconnected from that. And today, I don't understand, but it feels like it flew back in. So I'm wondering if you could help me with that. If you
now, did you release this yourself, or had someone release it?
No, Abigail. Her name is Abigail Petman, and she does like matrix removal. And I had that done yesterday, and I was perfectly fine throughout the night and half of the day, and then this thing flew back in somehow.
Okay, well, I'm going to do a little bit of numbers because I do the number work, right? We're going to talk about probably that. I don't know if we have some time. The numbers are holding the highest light frequency beyond languages, right? Beyond symbols, because unfortunately, beautiful ones, the language has been used to dumb you down, right? Preconceptions and ideas over and over again that you just hold on to, right? Because you're so familiar and used to that, you know? And then symbols, unfortunately, have also been contaminated. Think of a swastika, right? It was a beautiful thing, different people in different part of the world and what they have done to it now. So unfortunately, although you hold all your sacred symbols as the holiest of holiest, that has also been contaminated so much within this matrix, so to say, right? That has happened to it. So that's why the numbers have come in, which Nicholas has come through different people saying that's such a powerful work. It's like equations, right? And it is the language of creation that is the building blocks of all things, right? That numbers are put together to hold all the energy frequency beyond contamination, you know, like a language.
Can't be corrupted. Yeah, the numbers can't be corrupted.
So the numbers that I'm going to do now for you are not the type that in a session, you're going to write down a list of numbers. You're going to receive the work in a session. And then you're also going to go away with a list of numbers, pages. This is not like 6, 8, 12 numbers like people do. Pages of numbers, Alara knows, that are different energy frequency weaved in there in codes that you receive the work while you're writing it. But then also you're going to have that as a tool to recite it, right? So you see, if you have this tool, then you're going to recite it. If anything wants to pop back in, it can't, because you're going to be holding such a high frequency, right? So right now, the kind of numbers I'm going to say are for you and for others, but not the type you write. This is the kind that I'm just bringing in energy through those numbers so you could receive. So hopefully, Destiny, you'll be able to take part of the package so you could have that whole big shebang there done. You know what I mean? Because sometimes these agreements, of course, are like I said, as a soul architect that I am, to work on your multidimensional aspect, cosmically, right? Interdimensionally and all that kind of stuff. So we need to get untangled many agreements from multi-levels, you know, as well. All right, Destiny, is it Destiny?
Yeah.
Destiny. Okay, Destiny. We're going to do some energy work for you. But the beauty of this work is when it comes through, it's also rippling out to everyone as well. Like when you drop it in the water, we're talking about water, right? It ripples out. So like energy in those waters, so you guys can receive it, but you cannot go back and listen and write the numbers down because it's not the same type for that. Okay.
Okay.
So
I
here you go for
appreciate
you
it.
guessing and everyone.
Thank you.
Dole mane kutara pakasuru batala posle pakashira pakasira pakashira pakasuru pakashira pakatarona. Tusira pakashira pakasura pakashira pakasuru pakashira pakatutu shtu ut aron. Pariana barudu barabaru baru baru shira pakashira pakasura pakasura pakaturuma. Shira pakasira pakashira pakasura cash ura pakasira pakashira pakatutu. Tara 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 dushira pakasira pakashira pakasira pakashira Shira pakasira pakashira ta 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 ta. Chudimate turubarushira pakatutu homa hayana kutu shidata shrushida barturturtam. Kusira pakashira pakatutu akyum aria partush ar es et umest arta esa if you don't take 21 hayane boy apara uba shara harabakashira patura taparatura esa Now, I know Alara knows me for many years now, and I love when I go on the show and she says, that's new, right? Different sounds, because it was beautiful when I work with someone once, they go to me, oh, no wonder why you speak so many light languages, right? It's not like the same that people may hear over and over. They go, because again, you're an ambassador of peace. You have traversed the multiverse, right? For millennia, being that ambassador of peace. And so thusly why there are so many different languages that is able to come through of what a person needs to attend to them. So there you go, Destiny. How is that? And then this will ripple through for a couple of days yet. And hopefully you'll be able to come and we'll have a session too and get you some numbers. So you'll make sure that you'll have that tool to apply the energy the numbers hold in your own personal life as well as you go through this journey, right? Standing in your power.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, let us know how you're doing, Destiny. And I would go back and talk to Abigail too and say, hey, this didn't work or whatever. All right, Linda, you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, Audrey. It's lovely to see you again.
Hey, thank you. I remember. Yes. Thanks for joining and listening again. Beautiful. Hey, Linda.
Hi. My question is this. If we transition, when we go through that, how do we keep our consciousness with us?
Well, your consciousness is who and what you are, right? The reason why you didn't have it from all the other lives and aspects that are simultaneously happening, not dead and buried people, right? Simultaneously happening is because of this matrix, right? This situation and circumstance that has been going on by others that want to keep you disempowered, right? So that it's like your mind was wiped, right? Because what happens? I remember as Audrey, can I share this with all of you? We're going to do like ladies and gentlemen chatting and talking, right? Because that's how I am. I'm not just like pop, right? I'm like, hey, I'm a person of heart. How are you, right? We're old people, old friends, right? On the journey in creation. How are you? Welcome. See you again, you know? So let's all chat, right? So what happened is when you pass, what is the story? Even as Audrey, I would ferociously read books and you hear, oh, when you die, you meet this council, they have hoods on. They're going to tell you what you didn't do that well. And they're going to throw you back because of your karma and your lessons. As Audrey, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Or they say, oh, you're zapped and you suddenly understand, right? Even as Audrey, I was like, nobody better zap me when I'm out of here, because those ones that are sitting at a council with hoods, why do they got hoods? What are they hiding themselves? Something's up with that. I'm like, you guys have not been embodied for millennia. You need to come in this, right? Because there's something off. So I knew something was off just as Audrey, right? Because some other portion of me was in there, right? So it's baloney about lessons because they're not lessons. If you understand, you're an aspect of an eternal being, right? You went into embodiment or creation to have experiences. So you add to the depth of your knowing of what you conceptually know, but to experientially taste it, touch it, feel it, right? Like I say, jumping out of a plane, we could all relate what that is. Oh yeah, we know that. But only those who have actually experientially jumped out of a plane have that added depth of that awareness and knowing of it, right? The taste, the smell, the fragrance of the experience. So we've come, God beings, to have experiences to add to that depth of the knowing, right? But what happens is, right? So we know we have all these experiences. We've been looping in this for millennia, but yet they want to say, oh, go back to your lessons and your karma. Even as Audrey, I'm like, karma? I'm like, comma, as Audrey, not even Audrey Lightless. I was like, that's a BS baloney situation. I said, because they are trying to get out of comma. Meanwhile, they're burying themselves in more comma. How are they going to get out of that, right? That's like a ridiculous thing, right? But everybody feeds into it and listens because who tells them comma and this and that? No, right? You've come in to have experiences. So you add to the depth of the knowing. And when you have that experience, you've added to, let's say, learn something, gain knowledge, right? That's how they made that manipulation. Oh, your lessons. So no, you gain knowing and knowledge and the depth of it for yourself and the other in the situation and circumstances by walking through it, right? But it's not a lesson. You failed, you didn't do good, you're karma. No, those are the shackles and the traps, right? Over and over again. So your question, because that's why we're here now, to break those shackles, those loops, the baloney of the millennia of looping over and over again, right? So we're freed of that. So our memories, right? Our consciousness, our awareness, right? Is ours then yet again, because that is ours. That should not be taken by other controller beings and other ones of manipulation, right? Who alter it. So we couldn't be empowered by having those back, you know? And oh my goodness, that's so important, right? That's what we're here doing. So we can have that knowing and knowledge. You know, like when people want to give more BS and say, a spiritual community lining up to say, oh, the 25,000 whatever year loop it is, and the planets align and this and that. I'm like, no. Someone was saying some esoteric knowledge. And I'm like, no, right? No. I said, because what are you doing? You're feeding into that belief yet again, right? I said, we've come in to close the book, seal the book, right? Delete all of that, not perpetuate it again. Like, oh, we found the esoteric knowledge. What? To continue that? No, you've come in to write a new script and new books, not to line up the next people that are going to befall them the same thing that we know and we have done, right? Over and over and over again. And they say, oh, a new soul needs to know it. No, it needs to know it. So it needs to keep these timelines open. I'm like, no, because that new soul has other aspects of itself that is ancient, right? All it needs to do is access the information, right? Through another aspect of itself. So we already know that and have that. We don't have to keep that yucky, disgusting timeline open as potential, because potential means it can happen yet again, right? No, we're not going to line it up in another loop in 25,000 years or whatever it is, and disgusting gets to happen. No, we are not, right? Oh, they need that evolutionary journey. Some big person with a couple of letters goes on there and says, you shall be as the Pleiadians for the next group of people that go on. And I'm like, no, because we wrote it in the book of life as a shining, triumphant, golden ones. We go down as them to our predecessors, so they don't ever have to go through any of this ever again, because we already did. So you see how important it is what we're clearing the generations in both directions, the old future that didn't work out well, the old past that didn't work out well. Again, only in human reference point of saying past and present, but those timelines that are simultaneously happening as creator beings. So we create new ones, you know? And I'm sorry if I got off all the track of what you were saying, but how do we remember, how do we keep our consciousness? Empower ourselves, right? Yourself, rather than what are you going to do? Say, again, I'm sorry, Alara, I apologize. Angel, Master, Galactic, Guide, somebody invisible, tell me, how good have they really proven of what has gone on? I had a young woman today, someone sent it to me, and God bless her, she probably means well. She's saying, I'd received message from the Galactic Federation who said they knew all this was going to go on how many years ago? And I'm thinking, yeah, duh, right? They do know. And the issue is, why don't you ask, why are you continuing to talk to them since they allow such a thing to play out in the old timeline that we came back to erase, delete, not have happening so we could have a new timeline? So do you understand what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? Wake up really, right? To your own power, then continue to be fed in what was a millennia of playing and going on, right? So as God beings, we stand back in that and create something else, you know? That's right. Okay. Someone said, blah, blah, blah. They talk, and nothing goes on. Exactly, because it's a loop, right? So we know it when they say, we've won. Yes, but that timeline, we've come back to build a bridge to make that, right? But we need to clean up the files, clear up the things that we need to, right? So we get in resonance with that new and make sure, because there's many paths of possible probabilities, reality is always in motion and movement. We want to make sure that that stays secured, right? And help how many others can also find themselves in resonance with that, right? That timeline. And that's where now what we're talking about, don't you guys feel like you're keeping some, this is information I'm giving you, right? This is energy, you know, awareness, consciousness being expanded. No one can take that from you. You know what I mean? If you would like to take it in to be the power that it is, that's being delivered to you, unless you want to still play in the same story and be on your knees or scribe and listen and wait for ones to come, you know, like for those of you who are waiting for a certain thing to happen on a political scene, and then some will say, well, it didn't because, oh, they were going to shoot off big nukes and everything. Meanwhile, I'm thinking, what the heck are they talking about? Years ago, they spoke about that the galactics came in and disengaged the nukes, right? So all of a sudden, they can't do it anymore. What happened? Do you understand? Like blah, 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 blah. Don't feed into the story. Like those that say it's all on God's plan, trust the plan, God's timeline, blah, blah, blah. It's like, wake up, people, right? You are Christ and when God embodied, right? To be here to change it. Don't feed into all that perpetuating of the same story, because you are an aspect of the divine. You are an aspect of the mother who gave you the gift of consciousness and life to express through. You know what I mean? Stand in the power of that, you know?
So what if we feel blocked in that ability to be able to hear it?
You don't even have to worry about hearing it, right? Because like I said to you, there's some people who will always have their guides, this one, that one, and they say, they come to a certain point and they come to say, like before they even meet me, they go, oh my goodness, I can't hear them anymore. I can't hear them. I'm like, well, of course you can't hear them because those are characters that you were playing with. Now you're standing in your godhood, right? Your essence, your beingness, your essence, your beingness. What do you want to do, Linda? What do you want to create? What are you, right? It is all in the beingness, right? Even if you do nothing, you're still being your beingness, a light, a heart, a true being, a compassionate being, not a parasitic, you know, non-self-sustaining entity that does harm and lower vibration and consciousness, right? Just your essence of your beingness, your soul's signature that expresses you, your scent, who and what you are, the gardens that you have grown that have things of live, beautiful things, right? Feed and nourish others, not dead gardens of dead things. You know what I mean? Just by your beingness, you are expressing who and what you are and defining and coloring in more and more and more by that. Who do you want to continue to hear? You are the one that is traveling yourself through creation, right? As that beingness, an aspect of the divine, of the mother. Express it. And you are, when you are being a being of heart, right? Then a parasitic, vampiric, AI, non-life soul thing, you know what I mean? That ate up the natural biological for creation to express through, that we've come back to make sure that it continues changing the old story and the old timeline, you know?
Thank you.
So trust yourself, Linda. Trust yourself, trust your heart.
Being who you are, your beingness being expressed, right? Your lighthouse that you emanate out, right? For yourself and for others.
Yeah.
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you. All right, Catherine.
Hi.
Hi, Catherine. Nice to meet you. I don't know if I spoke to you before. Hi.
Yeah, I actually
have?
had a session with you. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I'm so sorry. I apologize. So many people. So hello, Catherine. I apologize.
Sure,
Wonderful to
hello.
talk to you again. Hi.
Hard to remember everybody.
Yes, lots of people.
Feel like I am on my life's paths, my work, doing the work I'm supposed to be doing. But as light worker, I've been feeling more and more like there's something more, there's something I'm supposed to add to my current work. I've been asking, I've been trying to find what that is, what the direction is. And I'm hoping maybe you can help or unblock anything that'll help bring that information to me about what I'm to do to help even more people or add to, you know, what I'm presently doing.
Well, this is the thing, right? I don't want people just to think, right? I'm not doing my work on my mission because I don't know what gifts and abilities you already have that are turned on that you're using, right? But let's say there are other people out there and they don't have any specific gifts or abilities, so to say, you know, that they're bringing forth that they're doing to work with, let's say, light language or automatic writing or other kind of modes of healing, right? I want them to understand that is not an arrival point, like, oh, you've crossed the finish line when you have those things. No, right? You already have them by your state of beingness, of a hearted being, right? A compassionate being, you know, even though we go through stuff, we still have those hearts that are real, not parasitic, vampiric, lower expressions, right? But higher, beautiful expressions. They have come in and they're finding themselves embodied in these unprecedented times by no accident. So each of you, by being here, embodiment, finding yourself already doing that mission and that work, right? So whatever Catherine is talking about is whatever else to add to the plate, right? Whatever sprinkles, whatever cherries on top, you know? But I don't want anyone to think, well, like you, Catherine, like I need more to do. I need more to do. you're already doing so much. You understand? By holding yourself with the light, still standing, right? In the midst of all this that is going on, right? So you're just talking to me about whatever else may come in to add to the beautiful thing that you're already doing, right? Now, as far as specifics in that, let it have a natural flow, right, of what it is for you. Then some being tell you, right, oh yes, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. For me, everything happened natural, right? Because it is who you are, who come in wearing this suit to bring through those things, right? When it's time to do those things, you know, if you find something you're familiar that you like and you feel that's for you, right, then it's for you to put on your plate. You're familiar with that. You want that. You want to add that to help and bring to others, you know. But if it doesn't come, do not ever think, well, this has not been enough. That's huge. If you understand in the face of what has gone on here, the abomination we were talking about, to be able to even find oneself incarnated here and do the things that you're doing, that's huge for you and for others already, and why they are so precious, right? And so loved and so important, you know, beings that you all are. So thank you so much. Let me speak some light, Catherine, for you and others. Allah sulamola kutulipale silepaktilepakutum telealepakusulipakutu utai alayala tutu alayale tutu atiatu shtepo ututurama tarwa sumanai esa you see, just taking that thought off, you know what I mean, is like so much, right, to be removed, because it's like your cup overfloweth already, you know what I mean? So whatever else comes from the cup that overfloweth will be beautiful for you and others, right? It is not like, oh, my cup is only here and not until this other thing come, then my cup will overfloweth. No, your cup is overflowing already because you're finding yourself embodied. You're still a hearted being, right? You're still also understanding and knowing, as for me, to keep my light and to help others as well in the light, whether anyone is active at it or just your essence of being, right, immersed here, is huge in that. You know what I mean? Already.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is enough. And if something else comes along, great. But I am whole as it is right now, doing what I should be doing.
Exactly. It's only if maybe to me, it would be like, you want to throw a couple more sprinkles on it or not? You know what I mean? It's still got tons of sprinkles and it's beautiful. You know what I mean? It's even got a cherry on top. But if maybe more sprinkles come, fine, beautiful. But if not, it is already complete and wonderful. Do you understand? Look at that beautiful smile you got. You see the difference in that? And I got goosebumps, right? So beautiful natural progression. If it comes, fine. If not, not. Like when someone eats a whole meal and then you have dessert in the end. But then sometimes it's like, do you want a little bit more of a dessert? Yes or no? That's up to you to decide. If it comes, it comes. But you just had a beautiful whole meal nonetheless, and that you're helping deliver to others with that beautiful heart of yours. And even just by all of your essences and yours being embodied. Got it, beautiful ones?
Thank you.
Yay, thanks.
Thank you, Catherine. That was great. All right.
Can I say something 1 minute, Alara? This, again, no coincidence what everyone's talking about, because they think it's just for them, but it's for everybody also, right? For them to hear it. So no coincidence, that's so beautiful.
Jennifer Green, Jen is asking, can you help me understand what is blocking my throat chakra? And I would say, you know, you don't have to understand it. Let's just clear what's blocking your throat chakra, but I'll let you answer.
I love that, because then they're going in the story, right? They're going in the mind, in the labyrinth of the mind, in the story. Why do you guys need a story? Let's just boom, bam, boom, move it out of the way, right? Because what's in her throat, imagine we've been hung, we've been, you know, burnt at the stake. We've been many, many horrors of horrors gone on in multiple dimensions and worlds and aspects, right? When we were exploring the duality, polarity, experience and experiment, right? So that's multi-layered, or for generations. We're talking about human time reference, but say, in all the dots in creation, right, of all the timelines, so to say, that's huge. So how are we going to pinpoint and say, oh, it's one specific that is there right now, you know? No, it could be multi-layered, right? Like the other young woman who was saying, I thought I got rid of it, but it's still coming back, right? So some other line of that tendril is somewhere else, right, that wasn't covered, right? So that's why we want to do so many, right? So many, my work does thousands at a time, right? So we have more of that, progress, right, to get done in rippling it through the energies and how many, right, to those tendrils, you know, of the beginning of that point, you know, or that I'm saying tendril, the root, right, of where that originated from. That's why we're going thousand, because we've been going through this in millennia. And I guess that's very powerful, Sometimes they need another hit, right? Because they cannot be overloaded and overwhelmed, right? In what's going on. You need some time to acclimate and adjust, right? Alara? That's why the numbers are done in different sections. So one could acclimate and adjust and use them as well. And when they're acclimated, well, then if they want, they come and get another level, right? Of the energy frequency to work with. Because see how Alara is yawning and other people yawn or go to sleep? You're going to do the shebang. You still got to hold your physicality, right? You need to be awake. You need to function. You need to comfortably move through it, So we can't, disembody you all in one moment. No, they have to acclimate and still hold their physicality in that experience and be well, So I'm sorry. Now, put me back on track. Was there something else that I was supposed to be talking about right now?
So it's basically just about
the throat. She was saying the throat. Gotcha.
Yeah, not just her. I'll take that too, because since I've been on the call, my throat's been like acting up a little bit. So it's like, there's stuff releasing, right? Releasing and clearing.
Exactly. So beautiful for you and for everyone, right? And whoever can come and have that session, 90 minutes of this, right? And their own list of numbers. So it'll be really important. So I hope they can come and avail themselves to that if they can. So here we go. Tu le sonar tirarea, meriserum, Now, Lara, you must be familiar with Kali, right? Kali comes into my work, but again, Kali destroys so we can persevere over that which has held us down. It's a positive aspect, right, of the mother, right, of creation has come in. So it doesn't hold us back. No messing around, right? We want to get that done effective and efficient, right? So understand that Kali is an aspect, right? Source expressing, right? Through that name, through that person, right? That beingness. But again, source expressing in that just unique way. So here we go. Kali, kash. Again, we're not going to read an Akash. Why do you want to read? And forgive anybody who reads it. And I'm sorry, but we also want to go and write new books, right? New books. So this is to write the new books and be at that highest potential to be able to access the potentialities at the new books, higher energies that the old ones do not have. So Kali with the Akash, we write clear the Akash, clear, and we write Akash. Kali, Asamana, Veshliatu, Humka here at the base of the skull, top of the spine. So I'm releasing Bahua, Tutuatu, Sumanikatashta, Sutum. See. To make that deep releasing more gentle. See, esa. There you go.
Awesome, thank you. And Jen, let us know how you're feeling, okay? And Marcy was asking, hold on. Marcy was asking, Audrey, can you speak about you referring to yourself as a fighter/rebel and my understanding of neutrality being needed at this time?
Okay, I just for 1 second, someone else, because everything is happening so quick, someone else was saying there when the other young woman received that they received and their back stopped hurting, right? So that's what we're saying. It's rippling in from one person, but it ripples out, right, to others as well. That's why my group work is so beautiful as well, too, right? So you have the individuals and you have the option to all share together as well. Now, neutrality. Okay, here comes the rebel non-compliant self. Everybody hold on. And Spirit said it is needed because years ago I was going to not do this. And they're like, no, you must play, right? Play meaning creation's game, right? Because you, meaning me, right, embodied as a non-compliant being, right? So we break the mold, right? Which is needed, rebel being. And I understand people talk about, well, just find the neutrality, right? Between the two sides, yin and yang. But you have to understand, if you just sit in this neutrality, we're going to talk about it again. If you just sit there and think I'm safe, what has gone on in the level of abomination and the looping over and over in the body of creation. Remember, they talk about the loops, 25,000 year cycle, and it's going to happen again. So who's going to be eaten up? What's going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. Same old story. No, 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 no. Right. So you don't want to just, as the old was, sit in a place of neutral, because to me, to explain that, it's like, I try to tell people, okay, look, you move to a great new neighborhood, right? So your neighborhood is good, right? Or you fix the playground. The playground is beautiful. What happens? Those beings that traverse creation and the multiverse and the timelines, right, looking for ones who have a beautiful neighborhood and playground, will come and eat you up in your neighborhood or your playground, right? While you were sitting in the neutral place, what was happening out here, and they ate everybody else out here. Now they need more, so they're going to come find you in your neutral place, right? Think about it, beautiful worlds, right, that have been eaten or destroyed when those ones showed up in their neutral place that they were. So this is why the awareness to understand the bigger picture of things, you know, to have not the blinders on or the rose-colored glasses, and to understand and know the bigger picture of things that have gone on. So we say no more, right? No more than sit in neutral. When you sit in neutral, you're not saying no more. So it's like you accept all that'll happen, right? Remember, like years ago, I was like, oh my God, by not making a decision is like you made a decision, right? Sitting in neutrality is like you made, okay, yeah, keep raging on, right? So you have to say, no, no more, have awareness, right? Then if you say neutral, meaning you're not going to be eaten up by your emotions, right? Anger, despair, upset, right? Because you don't want to get lost in that, because those emotions, right, are feeding those beings, right? Totally contradictory to what you want. So there, if you say neutral, to me, it's more of you are having understanding what's going on, but you're being powered. So you're not feeding the others, right? Yet with your emotions, right? So it's like a fine line to kind of walk, right? But it's not neutral. You understand? It's more empowered awareness, understanding, and saying, I'm not going to feed you all, but I'm not wearing rose-colored glasses or anything like that. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm sorry, I apologize, because the English is so difficult, you know? Exactly. I do not consent to all that kind of stuff. Exactly. Because you, by sitting in neutral, and if you do not look, then this still rages on, right? So it's kind of like, you're not saying no, right? No more of that. You're kind of coloring that in by your non-action, because it's unraveling and happening yet again, yet again, yet again, yet again, yet again. And we've come in to cut that, to end that, right? That timeline, that story, the same old over and over again, right? Being released to that, so we can go back to know who and what we are and build anew as the beautiful divine beings we are, that we forgot we are when we entered into this, to be able to play in lesser and duality and density, but we were supposed to get it right back, right? Those other beings have held it away from others to understand for so long. They couldn't come out of it. Why we had to find from the stars, wherever other beings we are, these divine beings, to come in, embody, forgetting they are that, so we could help and assist the situation not to continue on, right? Because they became too lost, right? The other, let's say, sheeple and whomever that are deluded, right, and sedated, they don't even know what has happened to them, right? They mean well, but this has also happened to them as well, you know? So we've come in to assist, because we can, of our essence that we brought here, right? To hold that light and to affect this for those that unfortunately have become so lost and are continuing to perpetuate that story. You know what I mean? Meaning well, but perpetuating the story nonetheless, right? Which we've come in, delete, right? No more, right? New means new. It does not mean perpetuate the old, right? It means new, go back to the natural biological, but what are we going to build from there with that, right? Which is fairness, unity, allowing them to access the true treasures that are theirs, you know?
Absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you, Marcy, for asking that question. Yeah, awesome. All right, so I want to take a few minutes and talk about the packages, the special offers. First, Audrey, before we go any further, because otherwise we'll get way beyond. And so Audrey's packages are available at alara.at/show/Audrey10. So Audrey, you know, you've been talking about it off and on during the show, but let's talk a little bit about package A, which is a 1 hour private session, and then package, sorry, my package B is the 90-minute private session. Yeah. And 90 minutes, it's a private session, including the sacred key code numbers. So we've been talking about it off and on, but is there anything else you want to add about that? And then package C is the 2 live 90-minute calls with you that they can choose.
So
the group calls.
I'll talk a little bit so you can rest your throat. So the first would be an hour session, which would be light language, right? And Akash language, but it would not include the numbers. So the difference is if they would like to bring it from an hour to the 90 minutes, right? We need that extra time because we're going to have light language Akash, and they would write in the beginning their sacred key code numbers, right? Their own list of numbers. So it is working on their etheric, mental, physical, emotional bodies, right? Their Gaian lives, as well as their cosmic multidimensional aspects, childhood issues, right? Unconscious, subconscious, right? It's huge, this work. Again, Tesla received it in his aspects, right? And he was left, whoo, because he had to acclimate, right? He couldn't go and do the work that we were going to do behind the scenes. He had to do it another time because he had to, acclimate and adjust. So it is very, very powerful. So, they will have the numbers, they're writing them, and then they're receiving the works, like we said. But the beauty is then if they get the list of numbers, pages, front, back, right, however long they will be, they're going to read over those numbers and apply the energy they hold in their own personal lives as a tool, right? What positive they want to help support bring to them, what negative they need to be dispersed, dispel, be strong and fortified while it's happening. Or I also say to them, you want to set intentions, which is fabulous, right? But you don't know what is happening in another multidimensional aspect of yourself, right? Or back in the generation. So how are you going to set an intention when that is a thing that is still happening, occurring, or bleeding through into this life, right? So the third way is to use the numbers is just read them without a specific, right? Read them and let that energy go, right? Where it needs to go to help handle it. And then also just having the numbers in your space helps emanate out that energy. Or if people feel like attacked when they sleep or have trouble sleeping, I say put it under a copy under your fitted sheet. You don't have to write it over and over. Once you write it one time, you can just copy it from there and then use it, And also I bring through the beings of light. Now the beings of light are a collective. This is not fortune telling, because fortune telling is keeping your crutches and your training wheels, right? And this is about throwing those away so you get your footing as the captain of your ship, standing in your godhood. So the beings of light come in to wrap them in that energy. They're a collective. They know they are part of all that is, expressing in their own unique way. And so they come in both of those sessions, right? I let them speak with them for a little bit. Maybe if we have time, we'll bring them in and say hello. And also in both of those sessions, the mother, right? Because I want to wrap them like we did today in some of that energy of the mother. Because again, years ago, the message was tell them to follow the lifeline, which is the umbilical, back to the womb of that mother, right? So you can be nourished and fortified and strengthened in that, because the mother gave the gift of individualization, right? Consciousness to express and experience. There's going to be many that are going to lose their gift of individualization, right? Because they are not in resonance with being heart and a true self-sustaining being and standing in their godhood. So you want to keep your gift of individualization, So it is very important. So bring in the mother for them. And that's it. Okay. And then the last thing is if they want to experience some of my group work with other beautiful people. So yes, they receive in the call, but we're also being called to be the lighthouses and put our energy, right, in our love and whatever gifts and abilities we have all together. And again, I say gifts and abilities, but their gifts and abilities are that they made it in here and that they have their heart and their light, yet still, despite everything that wanted to extinguish them and their light, right, and hold them down. And yet they're still, right, that hearted being, that beautiful light, right? So we all join together and as those lighthouses put that out into not only humanity, Gaia, the collective, but to the field of creation, because this is not a story that's only humanity and Gaia's. Because remember, what has a hold here is a thing that has traversed other levels, right, and timelines in creation as well. So this is not just Gaia and Earth's story, but this is a story of creation. As we understand, we have encountered this in multiple aspects, right? So why we're here handling this to ripple out to a whole body of creation. So we do that as well on those two little calls. So we receive and we give out, which is so beautiful,
Awesome. Thank you. And again, package A and B are available in 2 and 3 part payment plans. And all 3 packages have a 24-hour special 10% gift. So please use the code TACS10. I know it still says discount, but it's really a gift from me to you. When you purchase, you receive 10% off, so a 10% gift. So that's only for 24 hours. So please do take advantage of that. And that again, the code is TACS10. Okay. So awesome. Thank you. And all right, we're going to take 1 or 2 more last questions. So Marianne, I know you've been on hold for a long time and off and on. So you've been here for a while. You want to unmute yourself? There you go.
Hi.
Hi,
Hi.
Marianne. Hi.
Hi, Audrey. Oh, it's, my question has to do with
I can't hear her. Can you guys hear her?
Are you,
I'm just trying to think of the question. It's related to being vaccinated, and I'm refusing to be vaccinated, and so many places are requiring it now,
Mm-hmm.
and having trouble just standing my ground and not buying into it.
What is the last part you just said, Marianne? I couldn't hear that.
it's hard for her to stand her ground.
Hard for her to stand.
For what I believe in.
Well, that is why things like this are so important. So thank you, Alara, right? For doing the works that you do, where it gives them community to be together. You know, we understand the bigger picture of things that are happening here and why we don't want to fall in line to agree. You know, like I said, these beings have been manipulated for lifetimes where they accept and trust, right, what's being told to them. And so they just fall in line to that, you know. Also their fear, right? Fear is being used against them and they just want to be released of the fear, released of I can't fit in, I just want to fit in, you know. So they were molded into very much follow, accept, you know, when those of us who are not those beings who have incarnated, you know what I mean? And we've come in and we don't fall in line, you know. Again, they were talking about not being non-compliant and not beating to the drum. And yes, it's not easy. That's why, thank goodness, I've seen so many places around the world that are standing up to say no, you know, and not accepting, because unfortunately, those that are so sedated, they just are accepting. To me, I feel like that's really very much where a spiritual community and all the rest of the realms should not have dropped the ball to make sure they stood in that this never occurred, it never happened, you know. And since it has, well, what do we do to join together and use our magic and gifts rather than listen to other ones that should have handled it and have not, right, taking care of it. And so here we are yet again, watching the old future come to pass and play out. That is unacceptable and shouldn't be, you know. So some light language to help all of you who find themselves in this situation and circumstance, what is going on, you know. But don't lose hope, you know, and look out and see what could be there as different opportunities that will come in. Someone felt come off their throat. Beautiful. Different things that could open up, that would be different paths that one could take other than falling in line. You know what I mean? Because yeah, the pressure is going to be on because they want you to fall in line, you know.
But in some cases, there's nothing you can do. So like if I want to go travel to the US, I cannot. Right? So it's like, all right, I'm just going to wait.
Yes. So you were finding what I just said, a different path.
It's
right?
not a different path. I'm still stuck. Because like I was supposed to be there. I was supposed to be there this weekend for my cousin's engagement. Everybody was there. I couldn't go. Right.
Because you know that you don't want to do that thing to go to a party, right? Because everybody else is like, I'm going to go to a party and look what I'm going to do, right? So you're going to try
they all did it for sure.
Right. So you're going to try not to do that. So what's your alternative? Your alternative is I'm not going to go to that party, right? I can't go to that party. You find other means and ways, you know, to do things or not do things. You know what I mean? Say, hey, somebody put me on Zoom in the party. You know what I mean? Everybody has a phone now. You could be in the party in the phone. You know what I mean? Not to fall susceptible to that. But then we're going to go back to what we started. There are some people that did get this, right? For whatever reason. We do not want to say, oh, that's the end of them now. You know, oh, they're disengaging from their third eye and their spirituality and blah, 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 blah. Again, remember what I said before, don't fall into that, making that be what's going to happen. That's why the dolphins and the whales were coming in and talking about the waters of life to help assist you, that holds the memory, right? Not like somebody say, even the pods cannot fix them. We don't have the technology. They're just lost. No, your biological water within you that holds memory, proven by the person who you mentioned his name, holds the memory, right? To help heal them. And again, the message is your essence of who and what you are is not accessible that they are attempting to access through your physicality, right? It is not. So you're not going to lose that. I don't understand why they're feeding into the story. Don't, right? Don't let them feed into the story. Oh, it's beautiful. So this woman, right? I said I wanted for her and for everyone, right, to bring in some light language, okay, to help support her, because you feel so worn down. You do. It's so difficult. But again, try to stand that ground like Alara did, to say, hey, I know what I want for myself or not. I'm not going to be made susceptible to say, okay, I have to do this because I need to, to do that. I understand it's a whole nother story when people say, oh my God, fear, I'm going to lose my livelihood, right? So I'm going to have to do this even if I don't want to, because how am I going to feed my children, myself, and have shelter, right? So in that situation and circumstance, let's say if they were really twisted to have to do this, we don't want to say, oh, now it's the end of you and everybody else. No, right? We're going back to what we talked about, that living waters of life for the healing and the memory of who and what they are. I'm sure many of us out there have had our children or loved ones, you know what I mean? They're in the spiritual community. There was a woman who said, oh, my mate got it. And oh my goodness, what am I going to do? They said, oh no, well, you're going to be by him and now you're going to get it, shedding. And I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? She loves her mate, right? Love, right? And the bigger picture of understanding, right? Don't feed into that. That's horrible, horrible. You know what I mean? We're creator beings. What are you coloring in? What are you defining? Why are you doing that? Making fear and more separation. No, no, no. So here's some waters of life, right? To be affected, to help them and support them. Here we go. Soletura se perdirá, solo non te seré che disire seré venune venonea venune venone se le partout ari so aria koe I ke ku akia Sahara There you go.
There you go, Marianne.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good, thank you.
Welcome. Beautiful.
All right, last one. Pat, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Alara.
Hi, Pat. Hi.
Oh, thank you so much, Susan, or Audrey, for this wonderful experience you're doing. Am I integrating new energies each day to become more empowered?
What do you think, Pat?
Physically, I'm going through different things each day. It's a physical balance issue, but it's a constant thing. Yeah.
Yes. So how could you think any other than the answer is yes, right?
Okay.
Because again, oh my goodness.
Oh, what happened? I think her computer was dying.
Oh.
I think that's what was happening. She was trying to, charge it or whatever, and I think it died. But we'll see. 1 second. Let's see if she comes back on her phone. She usually does really quick. But I would also, just trust your knowing too, Pat. Like, what do you think is happening, right? And
yes.
So
I was told to stop a certain supplement. That it was affecting my, my brain health too.
Interesting.
And that'll take a few days because it takes time for the body to detox.
For sure.
Yeah. And then I don't have to wear certain crystals that I have, they're too strong. So I have to take them off.
Yeah, and it definitely take them off when you're going to sleep, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah,
no.
Absolutely. I don't wear anything when I'm sleeping. It's like I have to take all the crystals off, everything, because it's like it's too much. I won't be able to sleep.
It is.
I only wear mine when I'm actually like working, like doing the shows or doing healing calls or whatever, Otherwise, it's
and the dreams are just wild sometimes too. Dream states.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a strange dream last night. It kind of woke me up and I had to say, okay, I release you. You're gone. You're out of my field. And then it just left. I didn't get connected.
Good. So you were lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
Right. Let me see if she's coming back on. It usually does. Oops, 1 second. Audrey, where are you, Audrey?
Isn't that interesting, huh?
I know, right? At the very end, and you only wear your shungite, even to sleep, Linda.
Yeah, I have shungite on my wrist,
Yeah,
but I don't wear
shungite.
it to sleep. I don't wear it to sleep.
I have shungite here too.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I can't wear anything else. Neo's back. All right. Well, I don't know if she's gonna come back.
Wow.
Doesn't look like she's. 1 second. Audrey, if you're here, and oh, here she comes. Yeah. Okay, she's coming. She's coming on her phone. Here she comes. Hello, Audrey. Where are you? I saw her. Where are you?
If
Is
she's
she here?
she needs to
Yeah, Audrey, you need to unmute.
unmute.
Don't ask me where on the iPhone it happens to be. I think it's under participants, or I don't know. I never know these things. Shungite, it's for, I use it for protection, grounding.
Grounding. Yeah, that's what I'm guided to.
Because, we can be all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Audrey, you want to unmute yourself? Unmute your, maybe if I do this. Hold on 1 second. Oops, no.
Here we go.
There she is.
Right.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yes, it's a new computer. Guess what happened? I had 2 chargers around me, right? And I
Yeah.
grabbed the wrong one because I was so busy channeling. And I'm like, it doesn't fit, right? So I had to run in the other room, right? And then I got the other proper chargers. That's when you have a bazillion chargers all around. So I'm
Oh,
so
yes, I know.
apologize. So let's get back to what Pat was saying, right?
Yeah.
So we were saying to her, yes, right? Of course, right? Because you see, Pat, you don't need some other being to tell you. See what Alara said to you right away? She goes, what
Yes.
do you feel about that, right?
Yeah, I have to go to my heart and listen and ask my
Yes.
heart what it wants. Yeah.
Yes. And this is the thing, right? What does Pat want? Pat wants that. So your essence of your beingness, right? You've incarnated Pat because you are an aspect of the mother, of the divine that is here, right? Of God, source, creation, whatever name you want to call about a consciousness, with the
Yes.
beautiful heart that you are, right? We've come from those other aspects, stars and beingness, to be here in this little dot, right? All time happening to find ourselves because, right, to assist the bigger picture of what's going on. If you were not that, you would not have the awareness nor be attracted to high energy things as this,
Mhm.
So it gives you that, let's say, confirmation, perhaps, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Of what you, your soul, your essence of your being that's expressing through Pat, the story, the costume you wear, right? To confirm that for you. Remember how I say color that in, right? That's coloring that in for you, defining it more, because Pat knows who she's defining herself as, who we are. If you think we are etheric beings, right? We are energy, right? So we have come to make the unmanifested manifested, right? Heaven on her earth, God's in the flesh, right? Even though illusion is still a beautiful experience to be had. So we could taste, touch, smell, know another of ourselves in creation, right? And that's what we're doing, right? So yes, Pat. I want to say again, what we join here, right? I don't know what other people are doing, right? But when we join all together, this is like holy ground, right? This is a divine thing that people usually have to say, oh, I got to get on a plane or a boat. I got to buy a ticket. I got to go travel wherever. No, my work says where you stand, you make it holy ground, right? So this is a holy gathering. This is divine works that we are doing and supporting each other, right? In our divinity of who and what we are. We're called to remember to ourselves that we are that, and standing in that more and more and more, right? Years ago, my work said, those of you, right, who have been able to stand up to be who and what you are, meaning your essence, not love, unity, oneness, empty words. What does it mean? Nothing, right? You have to be it in your beingness of your expression, your essence, right? You go down in the book of life as the shining, triumphant, golden ones, because despite all, right, like the other woman was talking about, they want to do this and the pressure, right? Despite all that has tried to keep you down, right? And extinguish you, right? Or not truly to awake, truly expressing your essence and your beingness, right? Despite all that, you're doing this, right? So you are the shining, triumphant, golden ones, right? That go down in the book of life as that. So yes, 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 right? Standing in your godhood as a Christ in one represented, right? Saying, all of you shall do even greater things than I have done. Did a Christ in one say, call on this one, that one, and the other one? No, it was go to you yourself, right? And be that essence of who and what you are, which is a hearted, right? Higher consciousness, loving, kind, beautiful being that would never do unto another what they do not want done unto themselves, right? In the horrors of the depth of abomination that has been allowed. I say to each of you, stand in your Godhead, and why don't you ask the Masters Galactics and everybody and your higher self or your guides or whatever, say, excuse us, but this abomination has gone on for millennia, has traversed creation itself to the point where the divine, natural, biological was no more. Why we had to come back in time, right? To get this new time frame, this new timeline. If they had handled it all well, why do we have to be here, right, going through this? If they could have handled it or should have handled it and did not, that the old timeline happened, that such level of abomination is occurring. What being once ascribed to whoever a story and a book and this, that, and everything? Meanwhile, the abomination that is going on to children is happening. Like the little girl that wants to talk to a Galactic Federation saying, I know what was happening. Yeah, you know what was happening. Why don't you come in and do something? Then busy scribe, whatever, to whomever else, you know, and say, oh, it's a game they want to be part of. No, the game has gotten way out of hand. There is no longer going to be that ticket to play in this game because we creator beings come in and affect the change to not allow it to be anymore. You see the difference of one's perspective here, and why to be rebel rather than neutral is very important, and to stand in your power with awareness and knowing and say no more and create and write what we say is acceptable and what shall be, as those that are going to find themselves continuing in creation are going to be in resonance with, standing in their godhood rather than playing in a hierarchy of beings. Playing in a hierarchy of beings, look, we're playing in the hierarchy of beings have gotten you and others the depth of abomination, continually over and over again, looping into stagnation. That my work says, no more stagnation. Stagnation is a contradiction to life that the mother gave you. She gave you life so you could be stagnant, looping in the same. No, life is for life. So we come to cut the loops of stagnation, playing over and over the same, to honor and respect life and to truly create. And so others could recall and remember the treasure of who and what they are and that has been given them, and keep it as a precious, holy, sacred thing, that it brings tears and wonder and joy to them, that they do not need an abomination to have as a contrast, to see, to know that. No, we are complete and whole unto ourselves. We do not need that. So don't fall into all these old beliefs and paradigm story that is continuing to perpetuate. If I gave you anything today, I hope that it is you drinking from the waters of life to help nourish you and support you and strengthen you, beautiful ones.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Pat.
Namaste.
Thank you. All right. So, where am I? All right. So, wow, that's such a powerful call. So much, I don't know what's going on with my hair now. So much energy. So, wow. Thank you, Audrey.
Here you are, you're saying wow again. Can we tell them again about my wow? Come get your wow, meaning your sessions and your work, because, right, that word wow always seems to come in. It's so beautiful, right? Because Alara was just saying wow in general of the energy she's feeling and what was going on here and what was being created. And we were all taking part of weaving, right, today. And she goes, wow again. And so my work is, yes, come get your wow, because how many times I hear wow, because it's so beyond words to try to place into it, you know? And I told my kids, how can I describe this? It lacks with words to try to describe it. I said, I should just tell people, come get your wow, but they're going to think it's a selling tactic, right? No, I don't have a selling tactic. It is really real, and it's a wow to be experienced. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
So, yes, come get your wow. So thank you, Alara. You didn't even realize, right? It just popped out of your mouth to try to explain.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. So again, the packages for Audrey are available at alara.at/show/Audrey10. Please do take advantage of my 10% gift. We use the code TACS10 for the 24 hours. Okay. So thank you. My voice is going.
Do we have another minute just to bring in the dolphins and the whales for closing, Lara? Is it okay?
Sure,
All right,
absolutely.
beautiful. So we started with that, talking about the waters, right? So we're going to bring in the dolphins and the whales again, right? They're going to come, but I'm just going to slight language, what comes through, and then they'll be here. Good, beautiful. Thank you. Borosum partir huseum, calasso terruresium, voluntorisiro per te, gerasai surura, virutu beritira, celerum gerserire, veruntu menontua, se per ti berubere eum, seletona, Keripirum seletira, venuntire venone, seleportu elahasa alahasa kuku aalia awa isa awa ia teata ata eta ta the dolphins whales. Right, wrapping in that energy, all that water, right? All this energy is going through your water, right, in your vessels. Salalom, salaloma, selerian, anaya, meruntue, berunturea, meruntue, renane, selala holum, suleculum, seleculum, essa, essa. Essa, essa, essa. Alara, one thing, the numbers, right? Usually we remind them and we tell them, I spoke the numbers very quickly today, but in a session, that's not how I go quick, right? Because they're going to say, how can I write the numbers go so quick? No, we go nice and slow, and I receive and I write them and I tell them you guys and you write them too, nice and slow, not that quick way. So there you go, beautiful one. So thank you. Thanks, Alara, for this opportunity to share with all your beautiful listeners and with you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And thank you everybody for all your questions. Thank you for being here with us. And I so appreciate it. Again, please do take advantage of the packages and work with Audrey. Take advantage of the 24-hour special as well. That's available for you. And yeah, and drink some water, right? Drink some water, ground, or just be physically present in your body the best you can, and continue to integrate the energies from this session. Okay. And of course, you can always go back and watch or listen to the replay. It'll be out in a little while, but take advantage of that as well. Okay. So thank you. Thank you
So much. And I apologize for the interruption. So thank you guys so much for waiting for me. I so appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I knew you were going to come back. It's like, I know
yes,
she's going to come back.
I was like, Alara, don't close it yet. Don't close it yet. But I knew that we had to do the rest of that. So I was so glad. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's like, I know she's going to come back. So I got to wait. Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect.
It's all good. All right. So thank you, everyone. Until next time, we continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Bye for now.